Joining us now is professional fitness coach Sandi Griffin, who's joining us to talk about her experiences with bullying in the workplace. Sandi, thank you for joining us. How are you doing?
I'm doing wonderful.
Great. Tim, say something.
Oh, I thought you were going into I thought you were going into your question. I'm sorry. We could do that over again. I'm so used to Bruce just carrying on with the first question, so I was just waiting.
Well,
Take
this
two.
is our third episode. We deeply appreciate you being part of our experimentation.
Love
So,
it.
All right, try again, Bruce. The last episodes you went right into your thing, and I just let you do it, and I hop in whenever. So whatever, we can do it again.
and that's what I will do this time. Joining us now is professional fitness coach Sandi Griffin. Sandi, thank you for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing outstanding today. How are you
Great.
doing?
Oh, I'm doing awesome.
Awesome.
And to start, tell us a little bit about yourself. What do you currently do? How did you get here?
Well, I am a professional fitness coach, and my journey started way back when we moved to Germany in 2002. My husband is retired Air Force, and the military relocated our family overseas in 2002. And I didn't know much about fitness at that time and let myself go to the point where I was afraid I was going to die. So decided to start on a health and wellness journey, which led me into lots of other things. But I am also a mother of three. I'm recently a grandma as of January. I have a 4-month-old
No,
baby
you're not.
granddaughter. I
You are not.
am.
Yeah, there's no way.
You're not.
You look way too young.
Yes.
No, she's absolutely beautiful. Her name is Mavis. She's going to be super strong when she grows up too, just like her mama. But my fitness journey kind of sparked everything that I do now.
Was there? Sorry, now my old fit as fat kid days is kicking in. So you mentioned like being so healthy. How did you go from like I'm getting into fitness for myself to be like, hey, I see a career path here?
I tell everybody it happened by accident. So I gained a substantial amount of weight when we got there, and to the point where I was afraid I was going to die of a heart attack or stroke. And I didn't want to leave my kids without a mom. So I started this fitness journey. A skiing accident actually helped me start that because I had a knee injury that required therapy in the gym. So after a few months, I actually started liking being in the gym, which was weird, and discovered that I was getting really strong. I started losing weight as a result, and then I had some folks started approaching me, "Hey, can you help me too?" And I was like, "I don't know what I'm doing, so let me let me take a certification course just to make sure I'm on the right track for myself." And I actually sat on that for nearly a year. I never intended to do this as a career, and I was happy being a mom to my kids and doing some other things. And eventually decided to let me see if I can help change everyone else's life like fitness has changed mine. It saved my life, and it taught me so much about confidence and everything else. So I thought if I can change someone else's life, I would love to do that.
How long have you worked then as a trainer overseas?
So my career as a trainer started in 2009, and I am still going strong. So
You're right, Bruce? Okay.
No, I was taking a drink of water. I didn't expect to just drag this wonderful flow to a grinding halt. So you started doing this training overseas in Germany. What did it progress to? So let me phrase that in in a way that sounds like coherent English. So you started training people in Germany out of your physical recovery.
hmm
How did you grow? How big did it get? How did it grow? God dang it. So, you started your fitness journey. You started the journey. I'm normally much more articulate, much more together, much more awake,
You're
much
making
more
me
not
feel
on
so
drugs.
good, Bruce. I love this. I love this.
Of course, I feel like I can talk to you. Tim, go away. You started your fitness career in Germany. How long were you doing it? How long did it take to grow it? And how big did you grow it there?
So I started in 2009, and I was really intimidated. So I worked at we were part of the military community near Ramstein in Landstuhl, Germany. And so I worked with a lot of medical professionals. In fact, one of my very first clients was a doctor, which totally freaked me out. I'm like, a doctor is coming to me for help? Like, what are you doing? Like, and of course she was near the age of 60, had a neck issue, had a shoulder issue, wanted to lose 20 pounds, had a lot of chronic pain. And she's like, can you help me? And I'm like, uh, I think so. If you'll be patient with me, I knew I was very honest. I'm very transparent. So, but I soon discovered I knew more than I thought I did. And so I began working with our active duty military community, our spouses and civilians that work overseas in the military community. We worked with people that had PT failures and things. And not only was I very strong for a female, so I was able to demonstrate and be an example of you can do this. If I can do this, anybody can do this. And it soon grew. Within a few years, I started, because of my clients being medical professionals, my reputation started to grow. And I was actually part of a medical professional team that worked with our special forces members and our active duty military that were coming in from downrange injured. And they put together a comprehensive wellness program for them, because they realized it was more than just, healing a broken bone, taking out stitches, whatever. There was a lot more to getting somebody whole and strong and well to be able to return to duty. And I was kind of at the tail end of that program. And in the midst of all of that, I also discovered the sport of bodybuilding through my fitness journey. So I was the American liaison for IFBB International and worked with our military community overseas to be able to compete as international athletes with IFBB, which was really awesome. And I think in 2013, one of the Fort Carson, where I'm at in Colorado Springs, one of the Fort Carson WCAP athletes, which stands for World Class Athlete Program, which basically they're Olympic athletes in training, and just part of an Army program that facilitates that, was escorting a patient to Landstuhl, and we met, and she was just flabbergasted that somebody could be that strong, that lean, and not be starving themselves. So I became a consultant at that point for the national wrestling team, USA wrestling team, the women's freestyle team. And that's what kind of connected me to Colorado Springs, where I am currently. So I've had just a ton of amazing things happen, kind of by accident, but just really awesome things, and met some great people.
And yet, as big and as powerful as you were, as knowledgeable, you still ended up in a situation where you were effectively bullied.
Mm-hmm.
How did that come about?
It totally came out of nowhere and completely caught me off guard. With my bodybuilding background and all the community that I was plugged into, I helped the entity that I worked for do lots of events, especially bodybuilding events, and 2000, and had a great relationship with them. Actually, we were great friends. We had a great relationship, did a lot of great things for the community. And in 2013, the government did not pass the budget, and there was fear. The government shut down for a few days, and there was fear about budget not being passed and everything. And so they canceled this bodybuilding show that we were planning. And I was in the midst of training 41 athletes in all of our military communities in the area. So there was lots of different bases within Germany. And I was traveling to all these bases doing workshops and training these athletes. And some of these people, we were halfway through halfway to the goal, which was the bodybuilding show, and they canceled it. And I thought, well, let's do it anyway. I'll find a way. And I had some organizations that donated funds for us to be able to buy trophies and, buy the little things that we needed to put on the show. We had an amazing event. But just a few months prior to the event happening, word had gotten out that this was going to be a huge community event. It was the biggest bodybuilding show that the community had ever seen, ever.
Can't have that independently, can you?
Right. So the entity that canceled the show approached me and said, hey, we'd love to help you out, but we just need to charge admission at the door. Well, because I had been donated funds, it was billed as a nonprofit event, and my integrity rises above everything. And I had to say, I'm sorry, but no, I had to politely decline. This is a nonprofit event. We can't charge anybody. And that did not sit well with that entity.
Yeah. So how close was the event scheduled to? Sorry, let me say that again. How far into the bodybuilding training? No, that's not right either. I'm trying to figure this out. Sorry. When you found word that the event might be canceled, how close to the event date was that?
It was about 2 months out.
Okay, yeah, that's so. I have friends who do bodybuilding. That's one thing. All that training and prep, because I believe you guys are about a month away from like water cutting phase, correctly?
Yeah, yeah.
And you can't
And
just
these,
stop.
right. No, you're absolutely correct. And a lot of these men and women, and this was more of a transformation show than it was a bodybuilding show. These were all first time athletes. So some of these athletes had come off diabetes medication. Some of them had lost 50 plus pounds. Some of them had been told they could never do a certain activity again because of an injury, and they overcame that and beyond. So not only was this a lot of intense work, but it was demoralizing to think that they had worked so hard and then they would have to just quit. And so I'm like, no, we can't do this. We have to keep going.
Good job on your part for sticking up for you, because
I think.
I know that was me in my shoes. And last minute, oh, now you got to pay for this event. I'm like, what? No, I've been training for over a year. You're telling me 2 months in advance I have to pay? That's not fair. I mean,
Yeah.
especially with all the training and the mental training that goes behind bodybuilding. Those starting out the rough nights, no way. That's so
Right.
very happy for you to stuck up for that, those
Yeah,
people.
thanks. And the
So you
community
had,
just needed a morale booster. They just needed something positive in their lives at that point. There were a lot of people that were worried about their jobs, getting laid off, as government employees and everything. So it was a substantial event that I felt just had to take place. So
and was a roaring success.
it was.
How did you first become aware of this backlash against you? How did this begin?
I don't necessarily remember the first. I think the first instance was they had. I became a sponsored athlete with bodybuilding through a company in Germany. Just in the way of they provided me free protein powders or whatever, just to basically promote their products. And so I brought the products in and just took pictures with them. And I remember being called into a meeting accusing me of selling the products inside the gym, which was not allowed. And again, integrity, I that was something I would never do. I would never put my job at risk, until I would never put, at the time I didn't know that the gym became my bully. The employees at the gym would become my bully. I would never put them at risk either. I would never do anything that questioned my integrity or my practices as a business owner. And I was kind of shocked. I'm like, what proof do you have? Did somebody see me do something? Because I have never done anything. And it was the pictures. And that's when the bullying really, really kind of escalated from there.
What form did the bullying take? What forms did the bullying take?
There were lots. I was accused multiple times of unethical business practices, taking money for payment for personal training without my clients going through and purchasing their sessions, even though I had receipts and my calendar to align every person that I saw. I was repeatedly accused of taking money under the table. I was harassed. They hired other contractors, other trainers to come in, and I was harassed by them. I was accused of, what's the word? Slandering other trainers. Like I was telling everybody that they were worthless, they were no good, they didn't know what they were doing. And again, all of this was so unsubstantiated. Like they didn't have a person that they could say that, brought this to their attention. There was no written or any other type of proof. It was all hearsay. And I'm like, if you're going to accuse me, then the person making these claims needs to have some proof. I'm innocent until proven guilty, right? And it was always, I could be accused with no foundation, but even with all the proof I had, that was completely ignored. I watched as other trainers were given perks and special treatment. I was not allowed to go. Previously, all of us had been allowed to stand behind the counter and go upstairs and use the break room. After this started, I was banished to the bathroom, actually. They made me keep my items and all my business materials in a locker in the women's bathroom. So I had male clients. That was the issue. I didn't just train
Yeah.
females, I trained males too. And so it just made me, it was almost humiliating that they were like, I was banished to the bathroom. I couldn't even have a drawer or a cabinet or anything to keep my belongings and my professional things in a place that like I could greet my clients when they came through the door. I had to go, excuse me, I have to go into the bathroom. You got my book. And so I watched as every other trainer except myself was allowed these privileges. And when I brought it to contracting's attention, it was kind of just disregarded. And after a certain point, it was they kind of made everybody do that, but not really. So
Did
it was disheartening.
the other trainers that saw this, did any of them stick up for you or come? No. Okay.
No. And it's not a male female thing, but it just so happened that all of the bullies were male and they had all been friends for over several decades. And then all the trainers that were coming in were also male. So I was a female in a very male dominated space. And of course, I'm only 5'3". So that was another thing, like little tiny me, And so that was another, it was
What right do you have to be in this male dominated place?
exactly. And it made it incredibly, they made it very aware that I did not belong there.
Were they
When
doing
you
that
started, sorry, when you
Sorry,
started
actually, let
working,
me-
sorry,
I want to get to this. Were they
Okay.
doing that prior to what was the sexism present prior to the event?
No, no, like I said, we all got along great. We were all cutting up together. We would all have our lunches upstairs in the break room together, and everybody had a great relationship. I never saw any of those bullying traits until this event took place, and it was because I told them no, and I didn't understand that it's not okay to tell these people no. So I stood up for myself.
Go ahead, Tim.
that was the same question, Bruce, I was going to ask. So
Okay.
you got it covered.
Okay. But go ahead, ask a question.
No, I'm inhaling.
Oh.
I'm looking through
So
where we're at here.
so the gym itself, the gym was connected to the organization that had pulled budget?
Yes, this is all a military entity.
Okay.
And the tricky piece about that was in Germany, there's a thing called the SOFA regulation, Status of Forces Agreements regulation. And because I was an American working in an American gym, training American clients, taking only dollar for payment, I still had to register as a German business because they did allow German nationals to be employed in the same manner that I was as a contractor. So I fell under the rules of a German business. However, I was viewed as an American entity. So I had no legal recourse. And I learned this as this bullying continued and I sought legal help. The base would not help me, either Air Force or Army side. I hired a German attorney. And it was just a terrible situation. I had no legal recourse and nobody would help me.
It sounded like it
So
got really nasty.
It was.
Yeah. How did this bullying affect your business? Did you lose any clients? Did your clients stick up for you?
So I had, there were a few people, and some of my clients, like I pride myself on really connecting with my clients to learn their stories, to really connect with them. Otherwise, I can't truly help them be healthy. So those clients absolutely 100% were behind me every step of the way. There were a few people who diplomatically remained neutral. They didn't not believe me, but they weren't going to join the fight and help me. But most of my clients really, really tried to help me fight the abuse that was happening.
Did the other trainers at the gym try to did the gym you were working at or the other trainers there try to insert themselves in between your relationship with your clients?
Fortunately, no. And I think because I had such a deep relationship with the clients that I trained, they knew that that was a futile effort.
What was your mindset every day going into this gym, knowing that you're just going to be crapped on
It
by
was,
management the whole day?
yeah, it was hard. Not gonna lie, there were a lot of days where I wanted to punch something, and I've never hit anything in my life, never, not a person, not a wall, not anything. And there were many days where I contemplated that. And there were lots of days where I would wake up in the morning, realize that I have to go back there again. And I have to see this person, or I knew that they had a meeting scheduled that I had to attend to hear about whatever. And I would just wake up in the morning, realize where I was, who I was, what I had to do, and my stomach just sank. It just almost made me nauseous, physically nauseous to think about having to go back in there. Um, but um, Quitting did cross my mind, but I'm really stubborn. So I
So,
wasn't going to let it happen.
so how long did it go on for?
It started in 2013. It worsened and it kind of hit its peak at 2016. They forced me I had 22 active clients at the time. They forced me with a 2 week notice to relocate to a different gym, which was 30 minutes away. So they knew none of my clients could follow me. A lot of my clients worked at the location at the hospital that was attached to the gym that I worked at. They knew that my clients could not follow me. So they knew I would lose my entire client list. And they knew that, and the reason for that was their offices were at that gym. And so they wanted me to work directly at that gym where their offices were located. And it was twice as far from my home, so the commute was greater. I had no clientele, and because of that, they set me up for failure. So it was basically a plan to set me up to ensure I would fail to allow them to cancel my contract. So because I would not work there because I had a commitment to my clients at that gym. I did not go to the other one. And they said, you are not performing your duties as specified by your contract. And they canceled it.
Were you able to take your clients with you and train outside of that gym?
I was. So luckily,
Perfect.
because of my reputation and because of the medical professionals I worked for, there was a physical therapy clinic that was off base in the German community that was part of a gym. And I went over there and spoke with them. They were super excited to have me. So, and it was so much better. It was so much better. It was like a whole new world opened up for me. And I would say 85% of my clients followed me, and my business flourished after that, actually.
Were there any further echoes of the bullying once you had your contract canceled and left the gym, or when that happened, that put an end to it?
That pretty much put an end to it. I'm sure they continued to drag my name through the mud, but at that point, I didn't really care.
Did you become less active in base activities after this this negative experience began?
I did. Not in the community, but with that particular entity's activities, absolutely. Yeah, I never set foot in any of those again. And what we did is that's when I really started becoming, just prior to that, actually, becoming the liaison for the bodybuilding community in the German community. And so I really started introducing our American community to that and really started embracing more of the German community, which was wonderful culturally for me as well.
I'm letting you ask the next question, Tim.
Okay. All right. What advice would you give to someone that may be experiencing this right now? And how did you, sorry, no, let's skip that part. What advice would you give to somebody experiencing this right now?
I would say, and I didn't start practicing these things until quite a ways into the bullying because I didn't quite understand what was happening. I had never been bullied before until I was an adult. Um, and it was I'm the person that always has the glass half full. I always see the good in people until you prove me wrong, and it takes a lot to prove me wrong. I'll still second guess myself sometimes and think, no, really, they didn't mean it that way, you know. So it took me a little bit to realize, oh, this is for real and this is serious. So practical advice, I would say, one of the most important things I did for my legal defense and for my protection as a business, I recorded all my conversations so that I never had to say that it was my word against theirs. I could say, here's our conversation, and somebody could hear it for what it was. I made sure that I was never alone. There were lots of times where I was cornered. I had three people in the room, and I was the only person in the room on my behalf. So I had three people's words against mine. So I made sure that I always had an advocate, whether that was a mediator or my husband or one of my clients or a friend or somebody that was a neutral party that could be in the room with me. And we recorded the conversation. And I would not have a conversation unless it was allowed to be recorded. And and in addition to all of that, I kept a journal of every email, every event, everything that happened to me, every comment that was made towards me, so that I was able to present all of this to my attorney eventually. And unfortunately, again, because of the complications with being an American running a business in Germany, I just really had no legal protection. However, I think most people in this situation would have those legal parameters to protect them. And this could be very significant in their defense, you know, in their case. And then beyond that, just advice going through this mentally, physically, everything else. I don't believe things happen for a reason. I don't believe that people should ever be abused. I don't believe I was supposed to be abused. However, I do believe that I have choices. And I had a choice in that situation to rise above my circumstances and explore the other opportunities that eventually would present themselves, which I've already mentioned, you know, turned out to be hugely successful. And looking back, as horrible and as defeated as I felt during that time, I chose to learn and grow from the experience. We can fall victim, or we can rise above the ashes and really grow from that. I discovered mental strength and confidence that I didn't know I had. I'm stubborn, but I didn't know that I had the ability to stand up to a huge entity and horrible people, horrible people. And I didn't realize I had that in me. I'm considered myself kind of an introvert previous to all of this experience. And I grew up as a child, as a doormat, which is amazing that I wasn't bullied as a child, but made sense that I kind of got bullied as an adult, I guess. But I learned a lot about myself. And those traits, you know, the confidence and the strength that I learned, those traits in turn would help me grow my brand and my business beyond anything I could have ever imagined. So in short, if someone, you know, in their adult life is being bullied, stay strong, don't lose heart, and look forward to the amazing things that are going to come your way. It sucks to go through this. It totally sucks. But there's usually something at the end of this that you'll learn, and you will just flourish from it and be able to pay it forward to someone else, to be able to mentor somebody else going through this process. I often refer to my story with this as, you know, I've never gone through a miscarriage, but I appreciate the women that have, that share their stories and try to encourage other women going through the same process. Same thing with bullying. I hope nobody ever gets bullied. You know, I hope nobody ever has to experience this, but I'm glad that I went through it in that aspect so that I can be a resource and a person that understands what they're going through and can help them navigate those steps.
I don't know if this question was asked before. If it was, I am sorry. But what kind of toll on your take two? As you were going through the bullying at the time it was happening, what kind of emotional toll did it take on you? Did it take an emotional toll on you?
It was devastating. 2013 as an entire year was devastating for our family. My husband was basically forced to retire from the military because of budget cuts. We had a significant death in the family. We had one of our children going through severe depression and hospitalization at the time. And then I'm about to lose my job. So I thought. And it didn't happen for a few years past that, but I seriously thought I was going to lose my job. And it took everything we had as a family to hold it together that year. It was devastating, is not even doesn't even come close to the emotions that we were feeling at the time.
But you had your husband, you had your family though to
Hmm.
support you and back you up,
Yep.
which
And
kept you
we're
going.
we're super strong unit, so we got through it. We got through it.
Sorry to bring that up now. I do plan to put that earlier in the
No,
conversation
that's
in the
totally
letter.
fine. Totally
Yeah.
fine.
So let's talk about one of your success coming up shortly, which will also
Sure.
feature our very own Tim. Tell us about your upcoming event in Colorado Springs.
Yeah. So as I went through my journey, I discovered all the amazing things that fitness had done for me and my confidence and my strength, both physically and emotionally, helped me get through the bullying situation. And I really want to share that with every person I can. And I started to discover that training, even though I love one-on-one personal training, connecting with my clients, I really want to reach a broader audience with the education and the resources that our community has. And we relocated to Colorado Springs in 2019, and it's Olympic City, USA. It's a home of our Olympic Training Center and Paralympic Training Center, which is just full of inspiration and success stories. And so I thought, let's get all of our resources pooled together and share what this amazing community has to offer for somebody that might feel hopeless, that might feel defeated. They don't know where to start. They're overwhelmed with information. Let's put it in one place and just give them amazing, a fun day of activities and people that really want to serve them. So we are hosting a large scale health and fitness expo working with the Olympic and Paralympic Training Center here in Colorado Springs, Olympic City USA, and Dick's Sporting Goods. And our giving campaign, all of our admissions collected from the event are benefiting the Pikes Peak Suicide Prevention Partnership, which is a registered 501c nonprofit. We have a huge veteran community here, military and veteran community, very high suicide rate because of the PTSD that our warriors and our heroes have endured through their deployments and through their efforts to keep our country free. And so there is a huge need for mental health resources in our community. That's why we chose that campaign. We want to ensure diversity and inclusion in the realm of wellness and fitness for all of our demographics, including our children, our seniors, our persons with special needs and disabilities, and of course, our military and veterans and first responders. So we're really making this a comprehensive event. Our mission is to develop and maintain help the Colorado Springs community develop and maintain a vibrant lifestyle regardless of their age, no matter if they're just starting out in fitness or they're the elite athlete looking for the next challenge, whether they know a lot about fitness or they don't know the difference between a barbell and a dumbbell like I did when I first started. So we're just really passionate about providing education, real connections between businesses in our community, and really hoping to make this. I think we're ranked seventh healthiest state currently, and I'd love to see us get up to number one.
Well, you got those large stairs by
Yes, the
Pikes
Manitou
Peak.
Incline, yep, and the Pikes Peak, you can climb Pikes Peak, yep.
How many
Surprisingly,
years?
I was
Go
just
ahead.
going to say
Go ahead. Go ahead. Finish it.
surprisingly, we are ranked seventh healthiest state, and Colorado Springs is a population of 500,000. We still have a 25% obesity rate, and we can do better, and we can do so much more, and we have the resources here to do it. So we're just trying to share that with our community and hope make some lasting impacts.
How many years have you been running this event?
This will be year number 3 for doing an expo, although this is the first year at this scale. So this is a
Wow.
huge event. And we'll have Olympic athletes, Paralympic athletes there sharing their inspirational stories and all of the obstacles they have overcome to get where they are. We're going to have a 50-foot obstacle course for families to run through and do things together, a bouncy castle obstacle ninja warrior course. We're going to have live bike stunts. We're going to have guys doing the backflips and 360s landing on the airbag. We're even having a mobile blood drive. So just attending this event, you can save 2 lives. You can save one because your admission fee is going to go to the Pikes Peak suicide prevention. You can save a second life by donating a pint of blood.
Bruce, you are missing out. I'm so excited to be a part of that with you guys too next month.
Yeah, and I'm so excited you're going to be there. I'm so excited you're going to be there.
Well, since I'm missing out, instead of just having a nice off-ramp of Sandi's interview, instead I'm going to just put her on the spot out of spite. So you have 30 seconds to give the one fitness tip, the best fitness tip you can give to anybody. Go!
Start small. Everybody wants to conquer Rome in a day, and that's where we fail, we epic fail. Start small. If it means getting 8 hours of sleep, if it means drinking water, it can be that small. And think of a compass. If you get off 1 degree, it doesn't look like much for the first couple days, but 2 weeks into your journey, you're going to be like, where the heck am I? Start small, and that the small steps will lead to big changes over time.
I love it.
Again, I said I wasn't going to do this, but now, thank you so much for joining us, and you were delightful.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. I love what you're doing.
I mean, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing all of this. I think it's a topic that definitely needs to be brought to the forefront.
Yeah. Sandi, if people want to get a hold of you, how do we do that?
You can contact me on my website, Sandi Griffin, Sandi with an I, Griffin with eyes.com, and or reach out to me at my email address, Sandi.
Since I jumped the gun, I'm going to do that out. I'm going to do that like, thank you for coming again. But Sandi with an I, thank you so much for joining us, for sharing your story, and for being so open, and for doing all that you do.
Thank you for bringing all of this to the forefront and really making a change in our world. This is not just a state problem, a community problem. It's a big problem, and I appreciate you guys educating and sharing this with everyone.